Hey y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna let you know right now. I have my notes off to the side, so you're gonna see me looking at it every now and then. So if you are just now joining in, go ahead and pop in and say hello because hey y'all, it's your girl Shaneequa. I am the intuitive business storytelling coach. I will get into all that much later, but I'm going to go ahead and reintroduce myself because some of y'all are new to my page. And while I appreciate that, it's been a while since we talked about what it is I do. So let's go ahead and clear this stuff up real quick. So I am a two-time TEDx speaker. All right, so just real quick, this is going to be a little horn tooting, which is something I have learned how to do for myself, and I hope you guys are doing it for you too. All right, girls. So I'm a two-time TEDx speaker. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, placing in contests, winning awards, becoming finalists, all that beautiful stuff. I am an Amazon best-selling author, making impact with my stories, as well as I said, the intuitive business storytelling coach. I don't do everything business, but I do the most important part of business, and that is helping you learn you so that you can show up and be you in this world. Okay, so what I actually do is that I guide business owners into developing their signature brand story. And I want to underline that real quick because we have multiple stories. So we're going to take the signature brand story and we're going to use that to attract their aligned and assigned audiences. Yes, I'm a God's girl. I'm a spiritual woman. And I do believe that we are here on this earth to, you know, fulfill a mission. And I may not be Tom Cruise, but that mission is not impossible when I'm with God. Okay. So I am a God's girl. You don't have to be worried. I'm not toting Confederate flags and preaching this Jesus that ain't about love. That's not me. Okay. But I am helping, business owners and entrepreneurs like really use their story in a way that is impactful upon their income, their revenue streams, as well as their audience. So making sure that they show up to serve with story, which will turn into the sell with story. All right. So I do want to acknowledge who I was in a former life. I was a 15-year teacher. I was a public high school teacher for 15 years. I taught English, language arts, speech, debate, creative writing. If it had story elements to it, trust me, I did it. Okay, because storytelling has always been my boo thing. From the time I was sitting at the feet of my grandma, watching Nina and Cricket and Victor get their drama on, young and the restless, okay, to like reading a romance novel a day. I'm not exaggerating. A day instead of doing my homework in school. I don't think I read one book in high school, and it was a romance story, of course. It was called My Love, which was a Haitian Cinderella, which was really interesting. I was like, oh, wait a second. We can have versions to this? Okay. Um, so yeah, so I read a romance novel a day instead of doing my homework. I hit the stage as the bodacious Evilene in the Wiz, even though Ursula from The Little Mermaid is my girl in my dreams. Somebody put me on that stage so I could talk about them poor unfortunate souls. Villains are so much fun. Why? Because they're usually so confident. All right. So anyway, and they know their story. They know their backstory, and they know why their story got them where they are. Okay. So I love me some villains, fictional ones, fictional ones. You real life ones. Mm-mm. But anyway, um, not only was I on stage, but I was also Jamilla, the cake smashing Jamilla on South Beach Toe, y'all, which was on True TV, and which let me know there was no such thing as reality TV. Okay, because first of all, My name ain't Jamilla, though my uncle thought it was. He was like, "What are you doing on TV acting that way?" Two, I am not a fighter. I'm a lover. Okay, and a cutter. Uh, and three, I don't know how to make no buttercream cake. Not yet, not yet. I'm getting there. But also my love for story, like I said, got me placing in screenwriting competitions as a romantic dramedy screenwriter. So one of these days, you're gonna see my movies up on screen, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, Shaneequa did that," because I did. Why? Because I love all things story, and I love a happy ending. But more importantly, I love a transformation. So this is why it's relevant to you. Actually, it's really relevant to you because story is everywhere. When I say everywhere, everywhere. Okay, and I will get into that much later at another time when I show up and show you where story is. But I will say, like, as a AP English teacher, I used to teach AP which was all about rhetoric, right? And persuasive language and stuff like that. There was a textbook that we used, which was called Everything's an Argument. Well, I'm going to reply to that and say everything's a story because it is. Okay. So not only is story everywhere in media and in, literature media, but it is also in your business. And it's in every single business that exists. Trust me. Okay. So I just happen to be pretty darn good at helping people find the gold and excavate that gold in their stories that is going to humanize their brand. Why is that important? Because people don't buy what you do, they buy you. Okay, so you need to humanize your brand, and we can do that with story. But your story is also what attracts those customers that are aligned and assigned to you, right? Um, and it's really important about that because you also want to attract the people who you are assigned to help in this world. Okay, so if you are resonating with anything that I say today, that means you, my people. All right, girl. All right, so let's keep going. Okay. So, what I do today again is that I help business owners use their voice. That is what's really important in storytelling. I'm an English teacher, so I'm not gonna go on and harp on about voice, but voice is definitely what makes you unique. And in using your voice and your experiences, what you get to do is create these audience converting signature brand stories. And what how I do that is with my easy to follow, rinse and repeatable process, which I will get into. But let me tell you though, it has not always been that way. It literally has not always been that way. I am not using some kind of speech ploy on you, that little tactic of storytelling. I'm not using that speech ploy on you. I am telling you the truth. It has not always been that way. Okay. Because I really did not have it all figured out, like hardly at all. Um, because truth is, I had a lot of the same struggles that you guys had and that you may have now. And if you have them now, then I can definitely help you. If you're past that, we can talk about scaling later, okay, girl? But anyway, so I had a lot of those same struggles, okay? So I needed more clients in my business. This was like one of the biggest struggles that I had because I would give, 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 give. Whatever people asked for, I would give it to them because I can. That didn't mean I was supposed to, but I could. And what that meant was I actually needed more clarity in my brand and my business. It's very important. And you guys hear this word in business a lot, niche, 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 right? Anybody? Anybody hear that word all the time? Like I knew a niche to be like a window in a cathedral. Um, but raise your hand. Raise your hand if you heard that niche word. I hear it all the time. I'm checking for comments over here. Okay, but if you've heard that niche word, then you know what I'm talking about. Because niching means to come to your zone of genius. I'm gonna put it that way. It doesn't mean to exclude everyone else, but it's to come down or actually come up to accelerate really to your zone of genius, to get in that place where you operate in your fullest, again, in the way you were called and truly in the way you were qualified. Okay. So I needed more clarity in my brand and business. That required that required my elevation, that required boundaries, but more importantly, it required me to know my story. And I also had wished there was this way that I could stand out from the crowd, right? I wanted to attract and engage people who would actually not just look and like, and not even just share my post, even though like according to the algorithm, that's like the thing we're dreaming of. But it wasn't just, and by the way, if this is good for you already, you want to introduce me to some other small business owners and entrepreneurs, especially my girls who really need some clarity on themselves. Go ahead and hit share on this button. But back to it. Okay, so anyway, I didn't want people who just looked right or who just liked or just hit that scroll or that kind of thing. I didn't want just that. I wanted people who would engage, yes, but who would also buy, who would come into my community, who would be my people, who would be my tribe, who would understand the value in what I share, and who is also grown by the things that I share. I don't know if that's a word that I want to use, but I'm going to use that because growth is amazing. Um, and I have ADHD. So if you find that I go on a little bit of a tangent, please understand it makes sense. I come back, okay? And I'm on my medicine. All right. So um, the other point that really, really, really bugged me, and this is going to show up in my story in a second. The other thing was that I actually, 6 years into this entrepreneurship thing, into this business thing, I didn't even know my own voice. I didn't know what my voice sounded like. I didn't know who I wanted to be in business. I didn't even know who I was called to help. I knew it was business people, obviously, because story, business. But I didn't know who exactly I wanted to serve. Who exactly, not just that I wanted to, but that I was put here to serve, right? Um, and then there was this other thing about like, even if I knew that stuff, how did I communicate it? How did I effectively communicate with people how I could help them and why it is that they needed to choose me, right? Like, okay, so before we before we jump into that, um, if you relate to any of that, if you relate to any part of my story right now, please go ahead and let me know which part of it that you relate to. Because again, if you saw yourself like me, I'm not even going to get into the ADHD thing and being an entrepreneur today. I will save that for another live that I do. But let me know this. Did you do you need clarity in who you are? Because they tell us that we need to niche. They tell us that we need to come up with our ideal client avatar, but they don't tell us we need to know ourselves in order to do that. So, do you need clarity in who you are, who you want to be in business, how you want to show up, who it is that you want to help with the things that you do, and why they need to choose you? Did you or do you find that you don't know your own voice? Do you know what you actually sound like? Do you know how you want to show up? Do you know what are your isms? What are your things that make you you? I needed to know that. I didn't for many years in this business, right? And then like I said, the third thing that I was having problems with was that I was so burnt out. Is this you? So burnt out trying and listening and doing all the things and finding no success really with it. And I might find a little bit. I might make a few thousand here and there. And listen, a couple of years it was a few zeros, right? Um, but but do you have that burnout? And I'm going to explain to you why that burnout is actually like really detrimental right now, because I'm about to get back in my story. So, um, and this is where the shift was starting to happen just a couple years ago. At the age of 39, right? I was exhausted. A single mom, overwhelmed with the hustle and grind of working outside my home, working in my home, and working in my business, not on in my business, right? So I was so overwhelmed that one day I found myself staring up at the overhead lights of an ambulance, racing through the dark street towards the hospital with a blood pressure of 200 and something over, I think it was 120 something. It was really high. It was stroke territory. And the paramedics were like, "How are you not in a bad state?" And I wasn't. Okay? What I was in a bad mental state, because all I could think about, especially when I got to the hospital and found out that what had happened from stagnation, from sitting behind my computer, working so hard at building a business, working so hard at providing for my family, working so hard at trying to find success in a way that was louder than my fears. Okay. So I was working so hard that what happened during being literally stuck in stagnance, literally and physically and metaphysically and metaphorically, there's the word I'm looking for, stuck in stagnance, I developed blood clots in my lungs. I had multiple pulmonary embolisms, did not know it, which meant that any moment the bloodstream could have swept it up somewhere and I could have died with a legacy of struggle and strife for my family. That's what I would have left behind. Okay. Now, for the next 5 days, because they require you to stay in the hospital for 5 days after you have that type of medical emergency, I was in a crisis. Who was I? Okay. And what did I want to do with my life? Because again, in the back of that ambulance truck, I was saying, this is not how my story ends. This is not how my story ends. And when I left that hospital, a spark happened that let me know if I didn't like the end of that story, I had the power to change it. But first, I had to figure out what that story was. So here's the thing. I also realized in that hospital and thereafter, I had spent so many years chasing after all the shiny new objects. I bought every funnel system. I signed up for every freebie. I tried everything. I followed coach after coach. I took note after note. I spent hour after hour on replay, like trying to find this thing, trying to get that promise. I spent thousands of dollars as a teacher in Miami, living just above poverty, looking for a way to provide for my family. And so I'm buying all these systems and signing up for all these things that promise to increase my leads and 10x my revenue. But the problem, you guys, is 10 times zero was still zero. So all that work and nothing really to show for it, right? So I realized after doing all that, after listening to coach after coach, after trying to find the answer outside of myself, I didn't know my own voice. And that was a major wake-up call for me. And it was also the wake-up call I didn't know I needed. So what did I need? I needed to stop keeping my secrets to myself. Listen, if you're out there watching these other coaching strategies, consultants, business owners, product business owners, other service business owners, if you're out there watching them kill the game, you're watching them show up, you're watching them get the clients, you're watching them with their revenue, and you know you are as good, or truthfully, a lot of times better than them in what you have to offer. I'm not saying as a person, I'm saying in what you have to offer. If you know your offer is like so much more richer, robust, and can actually help people, because there are a lot of people out there shooting the fluffy stuff and getting that revenue and getting those leads. If you know that, then you should know this. You got to stop hiding. You got to stop keeping your story to yourself. You got to stop keeping what it is that you know that could change the lives of other people, that can impact the lives of other people and your own life. You got to stop hiding. You got to show up, right? So here's the thing. If you have been following me on social media, then you know for the past few months, I've been putting together some juicy stuff, like some really juicy and magical stuff that's going to help you do that with your story. But next week, though, I'm actually getting ready to drop a free class. That free class, I'm going to let you know what that is. That free class is called Tribe Magic, and it is about the 5 steps that you're going to take to sell anything with story. Yes, y'all. Your story is the gold, the coin that you're leaving on the table. They say it's all this other stuff, the follow up and all that stuff. That is true. But you got to be a person people want to actually hear. And that comes from your story. So let me tell you this. So like I said, my free class is actually dropping next week, but my major class is coming, Brand Story Magic. When that course jumps in, you're going to want to be part of it. But I'm going to give you a sample in my free class, in the Tribe Magic, in those 5 steps to sell anything with story. So I want you to be on the lookout. That link is coming. It will be showing up over the next couple of days. I want you to sign up because only 100 seats are available. Y'all know how it goes. Only 100 seats are available. And I'm going to be walking through that system that is in Brand Story Magic. So I'm going to be showing you what those 5 steps are. I'm going to give you a sample of them that you can actually take and implement immediately. And so that is, again, going to be in Tribe Magic, those 5 steps to sell anything with story. So again, I'll be walking through the same system. It's one that I've actually done with my paid clients already. The course before was called Master Your Story, so you've probably seen that. Those posts around over the last few years, but I have been tweaking it. I have been making it a course that you can own and use over and over again for yourself. And again, that is called Brand Story Magic. So that will be coming. So in the meantime, what I want you to do, what I want you to let me know is this. What is your biggest struggle to sharing your story? Why are you keeping it a secret? Why are you holding it to yourself? So drop that in the comments. If it is a very private story, feel free to message me. Message me. My DMs are open, not for sales, guys, but my DMs are open because I want to hear you. And if I can help you, I'll also do that too. So I love to know more about where you are, because I want to make sure that when I do Tribe Magic, I do address where you are, what you need, and I want you to walk away with something you can implement like right away. Okay? So until next time, thank you guys for watching. Again, drop those comments. I'll be responding to them throughout the week. And I look forward to talking to you again. So bye, girls. Shaneequa out. I love you guys so much. And be magical.